So this is Chris DeMarchi. He is the captain of the MRI endurance team powered by Monster Media. And he's joining us today because I wanted to talk to him a little bit, first off, about his MRI endurance U23 team. I got to see some of the pictures and stuff from your team camp, and I was really impressed. I mean, you guys are running a major show. Could you tell me a little bit about the team?
Yeah, the U23 team is an addition this year to last year's program, and it's truly a really nice addition. We sat down with all the sponsors at the end of last year, and of course, they were all pretty excited about what we did our first year and what we accomplished. And a couple of them were asking about fielding a pro team, and I just said, we're not ready for that yet. That's a couple years out. I want to make sure that we're dialed in. We're doing a really nice job with every other end of the program before we decide to take on the pro pain riders kind of stuff. And so I said, we have two options. We can go with a women's program, or we can go with the U23 program, and we can treat them like pros. We can race against them. We can bring them up. Juniors that are graduating out of the junior ranks might be able to make that U23 program. And then as the U23 program grows, then either we develop them into a pro program, or they get dumped off into a cash call team, or, Kelly Benefits or something.
Yeah, I mean, your program looks amazing. Tell me about this Hunter Grove.
Hunter, I've had the pleasure of knowing Hunter and riding with him for about 4 years. And he is, of all the riders you ride with, every once in a while you come across a rider and you're like, okay, he's got it. You come across a lot of riders that you're like, wow, they got a lot of talent. Wow, they got big lungs. Whoa, they got a lot of power. But you got to have everything. When you dream of being a pro rider, you got to have the ability to manage yourself, manage your time, manage yourself away from home, manage what happens when your bike's in Chicago and you're in Alabama. If you can't manage that, you're not going to be a very good pro. Managing your diet, managing your job, and so you come across guys that have the whole package, and you're like, wow. And Hunter is definitely one of those guys. Works at InCycle, pays the rent, has a car payment, and manages to get his big hours. But he's the captain of that team.
Oh, that's great. Now tell me about what do you want out of this year? Your team is still stacked with Phil and Jamie Polinetti, Phil Tensman,
Kale Leo Grande.
I mean, we can mention them all, but what do you want out of this team?
Out of the U23 team, it's funny, I sat them down. Our oldest rider is CJ Williams, and then outside of him, everybody's under the age of 20 and a half. And I sat them down, and Austin Carroll, the director, along with Dominic Galente, who is involved in the behind the scenes, and said, look, guys, I don't care if you don't win a single race this year. Our goal is a 3-year plan that I'm laying out, that we keep you guys together, we bond you, we make family out of you.
Beautiful.
Winning races is going to be important down the road, but I want to put you in the Tour of California in 3 years as a U23. I want this team to compete with the Trek Livestrong if possible. But that's a big goal. But if you don't set a big goal, it's not attainable. And all these kids, we got a good bunch, 12 kids that are all fired up.
Yeah, it looks like it. Tell me about you and your personal year. Did you have the year that you wanted last year?
You know what? It was funny. I came off some big wins, a lot of wins with Amgen. Then I went back on the pro scene with Skills and spent a year there, and then came back to Masters Racing and throwing in, obviously, pro racing. I started off the year supporting my team, riding for a lot of guys, riding for just kind of doing my thing. with them not changing the race, not being a factor. I can ride strong enough to change the outcome of any race. I truly believe that without sounding cocky. I think sometimes I can use my strengths and do that. Well, guys were getting a little frustrated that, there's field sprints and, Sharon's winning, and they'd be like, Chris, you got to start, just go off the front, break away, win, whatever. And it's easier said than done. And there's some really talented teams out there with Helens. Surf City, there's some strong teams and NorCal guys. So halfway through the year, I decided, okay, I'm going to start racing the way we need to race. And we didn't lose a race. In fact, we didn't lose a race for a while, and then we lost Manhattan Beach. And then we didn't lose a race the rest of the year. We won. And I don't think people realize that, but Jamie Paulinetti and I were talking about that yesterday. After Manhattan Beach, all the rest of the year, there wasn't one single field sprint the rest of the year. We determined the outcome.
Well, that leads to my next question. You got Sharon, who's back to back to back. I know you guys are friends, and he's a hell of a competitor, just like you are. And I know that they restacked some of their teams. They've got some power players now to lead him out. So my question is, what is the game plan to beat a team like that? Because I know MRI is capable, because they showed us all last year. But what do you have to do to get that guy? Obviously, you don't want to go to the line with him. So do you just string him out all race? What is the goal?
Yeah. That's going to be simply. He's one hell of a sprinter. He's one of the fastest sprinters in SoCal. He should every once in a while try to challenge himself in a pro race and see what he can do with some of the fast sprinters at the pro level. He doesn't, but that's his prerogative. He races for the Masters races. For us, yeah. Do we have a sprinter that fast? No. But our team hasn't showed up. His back-to-back wins, we haven't been there. We've had a couple to beat. Sharon is no field sprints. His team is very capable of leading out the field sprint. So we'll let him lead it out. We'll let him dictate it, and if they get swarmed or whatever. At this point, we've talked. We have done all the lead outs for Sharon, and we've given him a clean line to the finish. It's not ever. You will never see that happen again this year. We won't lead it out. It's not going to happen. We will attack till the bitter end and make every race so incredibly hard, and you will have to go so deep that when he does win, it'll be all respect because he earned it straight up.
Well, that's good, because you mentioned Kale. Kale's one of the fastest sprinters too in Southern California. So I think he gets a lot of respect too, and I just think with the right lead out and right tactics, that guy can win some races this year too. So my other thing is, just in wrapping this up, I just wanted to thank you for joining us on Cycling Illustrated. We wish you luck this weekend at Trolley and Boulevard if your team's in both of those. And did you need to add anything?
I just want to add real quick the direction of our program with the juniors and the U23 and in the elite masters riders. We are not going to be focusing on
kill it again.
What our main goal is to go to Valley of the Sun and field 3 teams. Go to Merced and field 3 teams.
Wow.
Go and travel as a group. We're going to field our best 8 at all those events. So we're going to travel in groups of 24. Go to Sea Otter. We're going to go to Tulsa Tough. We're going to go to Dairylands for 2 weeks. Well, obviously, each team will go to their national champion. These are things. We're not going to send the U23 team across the country to do Athens for 1 day, but we will send them to go Masters riders at Tulsa.
Cool.
So that's the kind of program that we're trying to structure here. Real life, cross country, not so regional. And we're going to travel during the summer. These juniors, these 15, 16-year-olds are going to be traveling for weeks at a time with us. And it should be pretty cool.
No, that's great, Chris. Thanks for
So, that's what I want people to understand, that our program is not here to beat up at a local race. We want to get exposure on a national level, and so many of the Masters riders are so in tune to developing the younger riders, offering them all the tricks of the trade, from nutrition to sleep habits to whatever it may be, gluing a sew up, anything we can do to help.
Well, you got a great sponsor behind you with MRI, J Velo, Mossy Bikes.
Yeah, we got a whole list with litigation, Zoot. Zoot Sports, SC Velo, GNC, Osiris Shoes, Macro Air, Gas Bar Insurance, Lost Helmets, Chafee Auto Body, Ritchie, Kenda Tires, Ritchie Components, a few more. Smith Optics is a new one. We'll be riding their sunglasses.
That's cool.
And the nice thing about the U23 team is their clothes are polar opposite. Our team has worked out for the first time, I think, in history. The juniors and the Masters riders are riding Mossy bikes with green clothes and white helmets. The U23 team, and we're going to race against them, they're wearing white clothes with black helmets and Cannondale bikes. We're running two separate bike sponsors, and everybody is stoked to make it happen.
That's great, man. You guys do it right, and many props to yourself and your leaders, because I know to get bike sponsorships behind you isn't easy in this day and age, but thank you for what you're doing for the cycling community and the youth of the sport, because that's where it's at. And I'll just conclude this. Thank you for joining us on Cycling Illustrated.
Well, thank you, Cycling Illustrated, for obviously bringing 4 million viewers a month to the centerfold of cycling. Basically, it's great for our sport. Thank you.